Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's Diego and it is May 28th, 2026, 5:52 p.m. Central Time here in the beautiful Panhandle of Florida. And I'm jumping on here to do a live stream for you. Lots of people are getting concerned or they're stressing out this new memo from USCIS, thinking they got to go back to their home country to process their green card. Now, if you filed a K1 visa, okay, you filed for a K1 visa, how did that get adjudicated? It got adjudicated at a U.S. embassy or a U.S. consulate. Am I right? Yes, I'm right. I'm never wrong. So you filed for your K1 visa, you went to the scary K1 visa interview at the U.S. embassy or the consulate, which means you got adjudicated at an embassy. If you filed for a spousal visa using Form I-130, you married a foreign national, he or she is going to go to a consulate interview at an embassy or a consulate overseas in his or her foreign country. Right? Yes, Diego. Okay. So that memo, what does that memo pertain to? Well, the memo is for people who are trying to jump the line. They think they're slick. They think they can come to the United States on a tourist visa, marry their American citizen, sponsor, fiance, and then file for a 2-year green card in the United States. Jump in the K1 visa consular processing. Jump in the spousal visa consular processing line, which you guys get in line for when you file the K1 visa, right? So you got people coming in here on student visas and tourist visas and temporary work visas, and they marry their American citizen fiance, and they say, oh, okay, well, let's go ahead and file for the freaking green card. Well, those days are pretty much over. If you come to this country on a tourist visa, you best be coming here as a tourist. If you come to this country on a temporary work visa, you are here temporarily to work, not to get married. And if you come here, on a student visa, you are here to study and hopefully get a degree, not to marry an American. The visa that has been created to marry an American citizen is the K1 visa, or the spousal visa if you are already married via an I-130, and you still have to go to consular processing at the foreign national's country of origin. So if you're from Australia and you marry an American, whether it's here in America or in Australia, you still have to go through consular processing at the embassy in Australia. So you guys with K1 visa applications and spousal visa applications, relax. You don't have to return back to your country of origin. You already did the consular processing. You already went in front of an immigration officer, or I guess a consular officer. You already processed through the State Department. Now you're in the United States of America and you're just filing for your 2-year green card. And then your 10-year green card. Right? There you go. James McLean, 2829. Hello, Diego. We have our 2-year green card interview next Thursday. So 1 week from, what's today's Thursday, right? 1 week from today. Can you go over everything I need to take with us to the interview? Okay. Well, first of all, you need to dress business casual. And I would bring your passports, American's passport and your foreign national's passport, her birth certificate translated into English if necessary, depending on the country where she's from. Okay. If you have filed a tax return together, you may have done that, possibly. Bring that with you. The 2-year green card, you're talking about the two-year green card interview. Immigration understands you've only been in the United States for what, 90 days, less? So you don't have a bunch of evidence that you can bring to a green card interview. But, you can bring photos from your relationship. You can, if you've been on any trips together in the last 90 days, you can bring evidence of your trips together. By now, you should have joint bank account statements already being sent to your house. You should have joint bills coming to your house with both names on: the electric bill, the water bill, the gas bill, the trash bill, the internet bill, etc. You could bring a copy of the license, or not the license, the registration to the car. You could both be on the title to the car. Just bring basic evidence of you guys living together, commingling funds together, and don't forget to bring a certified copy of your marriage certificate, plus your passports, and that's it. And dress business casual. Immigration don't expect you to be bringing a whole slew of information to a 2-year green card interview because they understand you just got to the country in the last 3 months or 4 months. But when you go for a 10-year green card interview, like Karina and I, we're still waiting for immigration to open up her box of goodies and sign and send me a text message to say they opened it. Still waiting for them to do that. And if I don't hear from them in the next, week or so, I'm going to be calling them and asking where the hell is Karina's extension letter. You married on November 10th. You filed the adjustment of status February 6th. Okay, biometrics was March 6th, and the interview was June 4th. My wife is from Nigeria. Okay, so just bring basic stuff that you have, showing proof of cohabitation, proof of commingling of funds. Whatever you may not have a bunch. Can you give examples of some interview questions they may ask? Okay, they could ask you, where did you meet each other? How did your relationship develop? How did your relationship grow? How did you get to know each other over the last however long you were dating each other? Karina and I dated for 3 years. I lived in Colombia for almost 3 years. We rented an apartment together in Colombia, in Bogota, for almost 3 years. So there's nothing Karina doesn't know about me, and there's nothing I don't know about her. They could ask questions about the house where you live. What's the color of the carpet? What side of the bed do you sleep on, Mr. Beneficiary, Miss Beneficiary? What is your American citizen sponsors? What's his favorite food? What's his favorite movies on TV? What is your routine? What do you do during the day? You get up, you go to work, or whatever the routine is. You basically have to know everything about each other, what your routines are, what the contents of your house is, what's the color of the carpet in your living room, how big's the TV in your living room? Do you have any windows in the bathroom of your house? You got to know everything about each other. And when they ask you, how did your relationship develop? You can say, well, we met each other online. We started communicating in WhatsApp. We were emailing each other. We were chatting in WhatsApp. I made 5 trips to Colombia. I lived in Colombia. Questions that you can get are going to pertain to proof of a legitimate bona fide marriage and relationship. Immigration wants to make sure that foreign nationals are not marrying people, American citizens, for green cards. They don't want you marrying people for green cards. They want you to marry your American citizen sponsor because you love him and you want to spend the rest of your life with him. They could ask medical questions. Has your American citizen sponsor, has he ever been in a hospital? Has he ever, have you met his family? Does your American citizen sponsor have a brother or sister? Was he or she married before in the past? Have you met his family? What are your plans for the future? Are you planning on having a family? Depends on how old you are, obviously. If you came over here, you're in your 20s, middle 30s, so you could get the question of, are you going to raise a family together? What are your plans for the future? Do you plan on living in the house you're living in right now? Or are you planning on moving somewhere else? It's not difficult. As long as you know as long as you know everything about each other, medical history, names of family members, brothers and sisters, they could ask, Karina's family's from Venezuela. They could ask her, they could ask me, what's Karina's mom's name? Well, it's Victoria. Does she have any family members? Yeah, she's got a sister that lives in Caracas, Venezuela. She's got brothers that live in Colombia and Brazil and Venezuela. Have you ever met Diego? Have you ever met any of Karina's family? Yeah, I've met her cousins. I've met her brothers. my nieces and nephews, her nieces and nephews, they're my family now. Okay. Bring evidence to the interview of your financial ties together. Show that you're caring for each other. Will James McLean, will they separate us during the interview, or will we be interviewed together? Here's what's gonna happen. You're gonna walk into the room. You're gonna be asked to raise your right hand. So both of you are gonna raise your right hand, and then you're gonna swear or affirm that everything you say is the truth. Okay? And then you're gonna sit down next to each other. You're gonna be here, she'll be here, and they're just gonna ask you questions. It could take 5 minutes, it could take 30 minutes. If they think that the relationship isn't real, if they think there's fraud involved, they're going to separate you, and that's called a Stokes interview. A Stokes interview is when they separate you into separate rooms and ask you like the same questions, but neither of you can hear the question, and then they're going to compare answers. But that only happens very rarely. It's very rare that they do that, okay? Because all you folks watching this channel are in real bona fide relationships. You made it this far. I've helped most of you get your freaking green cards and K-1 visas approved, right? How long does the interview last, says James McLean? About 5 minutes to 20 minutes. 5 to 20 minutes. It all depends on what kind of a package you submitted, how much evidence you submitted for the 2-year green card application, how much evidence you have in the 90 days you've been happily married, doing stuff. Okay, the one that you really got to study for is the 10-year green card interview, because now you've been married for 2 years plus. So you better be ready on that. Okay, that could last a bit longer. But immigration understands that you've only been in the country for 3 or 4 months, and you've only had 3 or 4 months to collect evidence for your relationship. So it's not so hard on the 2-year green card interview. It's not hard. But you better get ready for the 10-year green card interview, because that's going to be a little harder. It's going to be, well, you've been happily married for 2 years, so make sure you submit 2 years worth of evidence. Now, when you file for your 10-year green card, you file Form I-751. It takes between 2 weeks to 4 weeks before they send you the extension letter, the 48-month extension letter. So after 4 weeks, if you haven't heard from immigration, contact them. So, hey, what the heck? Where's my extension letter? But give them at least 30 days. It takes about 14 to 30 days for them to send out the letter of extension for 48 months. We're on 16 days now, I believe. We've been waiting about 16 days. And so I'm going to be contacting them probably very soon. So, hey, what the hell are you doing? Where's Karina's extension letter? We are following congressional law. We are following the Immigration and Nationality Act. USCIS just can't arbitrarily not change the rules. They can't just say, we're going to do this way instead of this way. Only the Congress can change the rules. Okay? Only Congress can change the process, not USCIS. USCIS has to follow the rules put in place by the US Congress. So when this memo came out saying, we're going to send you back to we're going to send you back to your home country to process your green card. Well, yeah, but that only applies to people who came in on temporary visas, student visas, tourist visas, temporary work visas. It doesn't pertain to K-1 visas or spousal visas or asylum seekers. It doesn't pertain to those folks. But the news media, the fake news, the crap fake news media are scaring everybody. They're coming out saying, Trump is kicking everybody out of the country waiting for a green card there. He's forcing them to go back to their home country to process a green card. Everybody. That's not true. That's fake news. It's bogus. The people that are being told to come back home to their home country are folks that came in on visas that were not created for a matrimonial green card. You come to America on a tourist visa, be a freaking tourist. Go to Disney World, go to the Grand Canyon, but don't marry anybody. Because if you do, you cannot adjudicate for a green card in the United States. You're going to have to go home to do it. And that's what the rule says. That's what the freaking rule says since 1952. But the news media is trying to make out like Trump's being this heavy-handed, evil, guy that's kicking everybody out of the country. It's not true. It's not true. He is enforcing the law that was written in 1952. Let me see. James McLean, we know everything about each other. We should be fine. You're going to be perfectly fine. You're good. EUCXR, how long does it take to get availability for the interview for a K1 visa? The website, it seems to never have availability. Well, what country? There's 160 plus countries in the world that process K1 visas. Which country are you talking about? Every country has a different workload. Colombia is busy because they're processing, the Philippines. Okay, so the Philippines is a very busy embassy in Manila. Okay, it's going to take about maybe a month to 2 months before you can see an available slot. You go into travel docs, U.S. travel docs. You should have received an email from the U.S. Embassy in Manila, Philippines, saying that they have ready status. They should have emailed you a bunch of links to click on to process the embassy interview process for the Manila embassy interview. Now, remember, American citizens cannot attend the visa interview in Manila, Philippines. In Bogota, Colombia, they can. If you're in Bogota, Colombia, you can go to the visa interview with your beneficiary. If you're in Manila, Philippines, you cannot. But you can wait outside the embassy or wait inside the embassy. You're a freaking American. You can go into the embassy. You're just going to have to sit down on a bench outside over here and wait for the interview. But it's going to take maybe 4 to 6 weeks to find an interview because the Philippines is a very busy embassy. They're processing lots of visas. It's not just K1s, it's tourist visas, work visas, it's spousal visas. They're busy. But hang in there. You'll get an interview. But you have to get the embassy has to send you an email, packet 3, packet 4 email, describing, explaining to you where to get the medical exam done at the the hospital in Manila. The names of the doctors that can give medical exams for your beneficiary. So there's a lot of things you have to look for. You should have got an email from the embassy, a ready status, and a packet 3, packet 4 email giving you directions on how to pay the consular fee and how to schedule the interview. I think you may already have got that from what I'm gathering. Larry Piercy's on station. Welcome, Larry. Good to see you. Got to see the Marine Corps on board. James McLean, my wife is from Nigeria. My wife say on Facebook that Nigerians are passing the interview, but nothing happens. No green cards are being issued because of the green card ban. Trump hasn't banned green cards for Nigerians. He has no authority to do that. He has zero authority to ban green cards for anybody. Only an immigration judge can ban a green card for somebody. But he can put a pause on the process, which is what he's done. And right now, immigration judges are suing the USCIS and telling them to do their freaking job and adjudicate green cards. My wife's from Venezuela. Okay? She's on the pause list also. But she's going to get her 48-month letter of extension. And in 48 months from now, President Trump's not going to be president anymore. Nobody's going to... The Congress is going to change, I'm sure. All those people in Congress that are trying to block family reunification with American citizens, families, they're all going to be kicked out of office. Watch and see what happens in November. Watch what happens. So there's a pause on Nigerian green card adjudication. Don't worry, she's in America, right? You filed for the 2-year green card, right? You're going to go to the interview, right? You're going to get passed. You're going to pass it. Then now we just got to wait for the USCIS to do their freaking job, which is follow congressional law. So we're going to wait for immigration attorneys to burn them like they need to be burned, okay? Not physically, obviously, politically and legally. Don't worry. So you're in America, you're waiting for adjudication of your green card. Just wait it out. President Trump is temporary. The members of Congress who are blocking adjudication illegally, but it's not members of Congress that are doing this. It's not. The members of Congress are kowtowing to Trump. Trump says we're going to do this, and they're okay. But that's not how a republic works. But, you just got to wait it out. Trump banned countries when on his first term in office, and they got overturned when Biden was president. Just relax. My wife's from Venezuela. If they jack her around, okay, I'm going to sue them. I'm going to make them do their job in accordance with congressional law and the Immigration and Nationality Act. The President of the United States can't just arbitrarily say, well, we're not going to adjudicate green cards to people from these countries. Congress says you will. So the only thing he can do legally is put a pause on it. Okay, put a pause on it. But you're still in status. You're still in America. You just got to wait out the process. And then get rid of those politicians that are basically trying to block family reunification. Let's see here. UECXR, are you going to save the live stream so I can reference it later? Just asking. Thanks for all the information. I don't ever delete a YouTube live stream. You can look back at live streams I did in Colombia 3 years ago, Bogota, Colombia. You can watch it over again. Larry Piercy, you got burned on vacation in California. Well, we went to California. Karina and I, we went to California. We went to Nevada. We went to Utah, and we went to Arizona. So Karina's coloring in on her map of the United States more places that she's been to in her little orange. I don't know if I have it here somewhere. I got a map of the United States, and every time Karina goes to a different state that she's never been to before, she colors in the state. Let's see. James McLean, Diego, but even after passing the 2-year green card interview, nothing is happening. They are being paused. Okay. Yeah. And Karina for the same thing. She's going to apply for her 10-year green card. Okay. We still haven't got the letter of extension. I'm going to get on their ass about that real soon, because because the Congress of the United States says they will give her a 48-month extension letter. And if they don't, I'll find an immigration attorney to send them a letter to say, where's the extension letter? Don't worry. Listen, so you get the 2-year green card gets put on pause. What's the worst case scenario? She's waiting for a green card, right? Waiting and waiting and waiting. But she will get it. She will get it. And if you haven't received it after a significant amount of time, you can file a lawsuit against USCIS and make them issue the green card. Sue them. Make them do their job that Congress has put into law in the Immigration and Nationality Act. Don't be scared of these people, which I know you're not. If they want to declare war on me, come on. I'm a retired Navy senior chief. You want to jack around with me? Let's go. Bring it on, USCIS. This current administration does not care too much for immigration, whether legal or otherwise. Can't you see that? Can't you see the countries that they put on this pause list? Well, we don't like these people, so we're not going to adjudicate their green cards. We're going to put them on pause. Or if it's a spousal visa, we're not going to issue green cards to these folks overseas, even though they're following congressional law, even though they are following the Immigration and Nationality Act. You got a few bunch of these frickin' people in the White House who are jacking around with the family members of American citizens. Okay. Elections have consequences. And guess what? We're going to have an election in November, and I guarantee you that if immigrant supporting candidates get elected, they're going to overturn all this BS. All right? Hang in there. Just be patient. Trump did it in his first term, And now he's doing it on his second term. But this is his last term. Now, I don't have a problem with President Trump's policies on blocking illegal immigrants coming into this country. He did a good job. He's doing a good job. He's done a great job. But when he starts jacking around with green card holders, he is walking down a very thin path, which is unconstitutional. Congress says you're going to adjudicate persons who come here legally. Congress says you can do this. So Congress is saying you're going to do this and this and this. USCIS is saying, well, no, we're going to do this, this, and this. Really? Okay. Let's see how that pans out with immigration judges and with attorneys. Federal lawsuits are being fired at the Trump administration every day. President Trump needs to stick to blocking illegal immigration, removing criminal immigrants in this country, green card holders or otherwise, removing them from our country, and securing our borders. Not going after green card holders or putting a pause on a man married to a Colombian. Right now, Colombia is on a list of paused countries. Why is that? Why is Brazil? It doesn't make any sense. But what I see is a pattern of blocking legal immigration into the United States and then slowing down legal immigration into the United States. Well, I'm a retired Navy senior chief. I met somebody from Venezuela. She didn't ask to be born in Venezuela. That was where she was born. We found love, we got married, and we're following congressional law, and I'm doing everything by the freaking book. And now she's on a pause because Trump thinks there's an issue with Venezuelans? Okay. See you in court, and you're going to lose, and we're going to win. If it comes to that, I would much rather not sue USCIS. I don't want to sue them. They got enough to worry about. They got to put up with Trump, right? They got enough to contend with this current White House. But hang in there, guys. You have got the law on your side. Now, I don't think you don't need an immigration attorney to file a K-1 visa. You don't need an immigration attorney to file for a 2-year or a 10-year green card. I'm helping you guys for free. I can teach you how to do this. If you want my phone number and email address, you got to join down here somewhere as a member. But that's here nor there. If you want to call me, text me, and email me, you got to be a member. That way I know who's got my phone number because it's tied to the YouTube channel. That's the only reason I have a membership, so I know who's got my phone number. But if you're getting sick and tired of this administration jacking you around, find a good immigration attorney and sue the USCIS folks. But remember, they're being kowtowed to the State Department and Marco Rubio. Now, I know Marco Rubio personally. I've known him for about 15 years. He's a good guy. He's got a nice family. I know him before he was just, carrying water for people in the Florida legislature. Now he's Secretary of State. I've known him since he was knee-high to a grasshopper. I've known him for years. Now he's Secretary of State. And, I'm not using my affiliation with him to get my wife's green card adjudicated. I'm not going to use my friendship with Marco Rubio to try to jump the line. I'm going to follow the freaking rules just like everybody else, just like you guys. But don't jack me around because I'll subpoena you and force you to do your job, which is adjudicate the green card in accordance with congressional law, which has been in effect since 1952. But the K-1 visas were created in the 70s. Let's see. No, I didn't get burned, Larry. I don't have burns. I'm good. James McLean, Diego, but even after passing the 2-year green card interview, nothing is happening. Okay. So when Karina gets, same for my wife. We still haven't received the 48 letter of extension. We should have got it 2 or 3 days ago. What are they jacking with her because she's from Venezuela? They opened up the box. She's from Venezuela. Let's set it over here. Okay. All right, USCIS, you want to play that game? Okay. See you in court. Congressional law says you're going to do this. You're going to freaking do it. Unless the Congress changes the rules. But we're going to change presidents before we get to that point. Now, I came out, I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I'm independent. I'm military. Whoever the president is my boss. I was in the Navy for 20 years. So my mindset is whoever the president is my boss. And I'm politically neutral. But I'm friends with some powerful people in Washington, D.C. So if USCIS wants to play games with my family, okay, do them on them. Do them on them. James McLean, as long as your wife passes the 2-year green card interview, okay, she will get her green card. It may not be as fast as you want, but she will get it. And if you've been waiting long enough, if you've been waiting beyond the normal timeframes for a green card applicant, then take them to court. Sue them. File a mandamus lawsuit against USCIS and say, listen, in accordance with congressional law, my wife passed her 2-year green card interview. Where's her green card? They have to issue her. A federal judge will issue her the green card. Say, okay, USCIS, you want to jack around with James' family? I'm going to take charge of this case. And a federal judge will say, here's your green card, young lady. Welcome to America. Excuse me. And USCIS is going to be going, right? Relax, man. You good. Karina's in the same boat. I'm just giving immigration time. I'm giving them time. It's been 2 weeks since immigration received Karina's 10-year packet, 10-year green card application. They received her I-751 on May 12th, 2026 at 10:46 in the morning. And it was signed by a gentleman I'm not going to put his name. He signed the receipt from UPS and said, we received Diego and Karina's 10-year green card application at USCIS in Elgin, Illinois on this day at this time. I'm going to give them 4 weeks to get off their ass and issue the 48-month letter of extension. If in 4 weeks they haven't done that, I'm going to hire an attorney and make them do their freaking job. I'm telling you, don't jack around with me, USCIS. A writ of mandamus, that's right. Larry Piercy, how long has your adjustment of status been in? We don't have an adjustment of status. Karina already has a green card. Karina has her green card. She's had her green card over 2 years. She filed for her 10-year green card. Oh, that's a question for James. James, I filed the adjustment of status on February 4th. Biometrics was March 4th. Interviews June 4th. Yeah. So you're going to go to the green card interview for the 2-year green card interview on June 4th. And then you pass the green card. She'll pass the green card interview. And then you're going to have to wait for the pause to get lifted from her because she's from Nigeria. And if you have waited long enough, if you are sick and tired of being jacked around by the White House and this administration just because she's from Nigeria, which is singling out a specific group of people, how long is the pause going to last? I don't know. But I can tell you one thing. If it continues on into November during the election, the new members of Congress will overturn that BS. Because the way the Republicans are running this dog and pony show for immigration right now, they're going to lose the midterms and the Democrats are going to get in. Most unfortunate, because I don't like Democrats either. I don't like Democrats or Republicans, honestly. I like people that follow the freaking rules. The law of the United States, the Constitution. If you follow the Constitution of the United States, follow the law, and the law says you adjudicate green cards. Doesn't matter which country you're from. The law says if you're from Nigeria, you adjudicate the green card and issue the green card if you qualify. If you're from Venezuela or from Morocco, I don't care what country. But Trump has listed these countries over here saying, no, we're going to jack around with these people, primarily African countries. Okay. And then Trump says, we want to make Venezuela the 51st state of America. Why would he say that? He's got my wife's 10-year green card on a pause for adjudication, but he wants to make Venezuela the 51st state. Do you think Venezuelans in America right now who are waiting for their green cards are going to want to become part of this administration, who are currently blocking their legal status in this country? No, hell no. It's hypocritical. It's really hypocritical for Trump to say we want to make Venezuela the 51st state while he won't adjudicate green cards for Venezuelans. Venezuelans are they're like, what? Seriously, dude? We're just waiting for you to get out of office. We're waiting for the new president to get in there. That's what they're saying. Let's see here. So how long is the pause going to last? I would say probably the latest will be November, when the elections are held. Lane Earl, I finally got my fiance's medical. Is next week. The interview is the 24th in Jamaica. Very good. Good job. I knew you would, Lena. You got it. Very good. Excellent. I knew you'd do it. They opened the book of June on Tuesday for the embassy. And you listened to me, right? You listened to me and you kept looking and you kept looking and you didn't give up. Larry Piercy, so they've had your package since May 21st. No. They received Karina's 10-year green card application, which includes me because it's a joint application, on May 12th. On May 12th at 10:40 something in the morning, 10:48 I think it was, a gentleman signed for Karina and I's 10-year green card application at USCIS in Elgin, Illinois. He signed his name. We got it. We received it May 12th. But I know from my experience that it takes 2 weeks to 4 weeks to get the letter of extension. 2 weeks to 4 weeks. Well, it's been 2 weeks and a day. So by next week, she should have it. What's interesting is that immigration sent us a letter. I think it was in January. They sent us a letter saying, don't forget to file for your 10-year green card. We're like, oh, look at this. Here's a letter from USCIS telling us to file for Karina's 10-year green card. They're saying, don't forget. It's a reminder letter. I'm like, okay, that's a good thing. That's good. So we didn't file while we were on vacation because we thought we'd get a biometrics appointment scheduled while we're on vacation. But now, so today is May 28th. They received Karina's application on May 12th. So what's that? 24? What's that? 12? 16 days, right? They've had it 16 days. So you can eliminate Sundays because they don't work on Sundays. Eliminate Memorial Day. That's a holiday. 16, so you can say, so they've had it just under 2 weeks. So I'll give them a little bit more time. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, considering they wrote to us telling us not to forget to do what we just did. Right? They told us. But I want to be I want to be on their ass if it goes past 4 weeks. And if I have to, I'll have an immigration attorney send them a letter telling them to send Karina her 48-month extension letter. I don't want to do that. I mean, I really don't. I want them just to follow the procedure that's been put in place by Congress. But if they want to play games with me, okay, let's go. Obviously, we understand that a green card is not a right, it's a benefit. We understand that. But Karina, my wife, qualifies for the benefit. She's qualified overly. She's overly qualified. She's got everything. She's never been an overstay on a visa. She's never done anything wrong. She has no criminal record. She has a college degree. She's learning how to fly a plane. She's got a good job that makes good, she's doing the right thing. She's doing everything by the book. But President Trump, is jacking around with American citizens' families, mine included. And by the grace of God, we are glad that we only have presidents temporarily, whether Republican or Democrat. So when Karina gets her 4-year letter of extension, which she will, it will go past the Trump presidency. So we'll have a new president in office in the White House when she's still on her 4-year extension. But I don't have a problem with Trump's policies on illegal immigration, blocking illegal immigrants, securing the border, kicking these illegals out of our country, rounding them up and deporting them. I got no problem with that. But don't mess around with green card holders unless they're, criminal, obviously. Larry Piercy, I met May 21st. No, May 12th. May 12th. My wife, let me see here. She got her May 12th. That's when USCIS in Elgin, Illinois received our 10-year green card application. And today's what, May 28th? So they got it in the morning, May 12th, so I'll discount the day. So let's start with May 13th. So May 13th to May 28th, how many days is that? The Real Brownie. Hello, Diego. Hope you're doing well. We're good. We're doing fantastic. We got back from vacation. I'm already planning the next vacation. We went out west. We traveled out to Zion National Park, is it? I think it is. No, Zion Canyon, Bryce National Park. We went to Los Angeles, Beverly Hills. We went to Hollywood. We went to the Hoover Dam. We watched a Las Vegas show with Piff the Magic Dragon. And Piff the Magic Dragon, he's an immigrant from the United Kingdom. He's probably one of the best magicians, comedians I've ever seen in my life. And we went to see him live in the Flamingo Hotel in Las Vegas. And he just recently became a U.S. citizen. So he asked us if we wanted to get a photo op together. So after the show, we got a photo op with him, and his assistant. And he told me, hey, I just became a U.S. citizen. Because I told him I help process green cards and K1 visas. He asked me what I do. I said, well, I'm retired, but I help people get the green cards and citizenship and stuff. But I'm not an immigration attorney, I told him. I just know how to do it. And he said, oh, man, I just became a U.S. citizen 2 years ago. I said, all right. Shook his hand, got a picture with him. Piff the Magic Dragon. Here. Piff the Magic Dragon. I don't know if you ever watched. Check him out on YouTube. He was on America's Got Talent in Penn and Teller and all that. I love Piff. He's hilarious. He's on Britain's Got Talent, America's Got Talent. Yeah. He came to the United States with nothing. Zero. I think he was living in his car or living with a friend on the couch. Now he's a multimillionaire living in Las Vegas. And he just became an American citizen. He got his break on America's Got Talent with Simon Cowell, I think his name is, and Heidi Klum, whatever their names are. Now he has his own show in Las Vegas. And we went to see it. And he told me I could video some of it. How many people, you go to a Broadway show or a Las Vegas show, they always tell you, no videos, none of this, you can't do this, you can't do that. He told us we could video. And then he said he wanted to get pictures with us, Karina and I, at the end of the show. I said, seriously? Okay. So we did. The Real Brownie. Well, me and my wife just spent like 2 hours packing stuff for our move from Missouri to Tennessee. Now remember, Brownie, don't forget, you got to notify immigration when you move to Tennessee. You're moving to your parents, right? Make sure you get a Tennessee driver's license within 10 days of moving to Tennessee. Make sure you notify immigration of your new address. Okay? And be ready for an explanation as to why you moved when you go for your 10-year green card interview. Maybe, didn't you get your 2-year green card already, right? Yeah, you're on it. There you go. Good. But I think you already got your 2-year green card, right? So your country of England isn't on any block. It's not on any pause. Yeah, you're on your 2-year green card. So right now you're collecting evidence for your 10-year green card. So be ready for you have to be ready with the reason why you moved from Missouri to Tennessee. Immigration, at the interview, they may ask you, Brownie, why'd you move from Missouri to Tennessee? Well, I got sick and tired of the weather in Missouri. My car got destroyed by, the weather. What was it? Didn't your car get hit with by giant icicles? Something happened to your car, right? You moved because of the weather and to save money. Yeah, hailstones. Yeah. So you moved. The reason you're going to say is, well, I moved because the weather sucks in Missouri, and I got a better job opportunity in Tennessee, and and we got a better chance to save money to buy our first house, because inflation has put the price of houses out of the reach of lots of people. The price of a home is ridiculous to how much a home costs. It's ridiculous, right? How much the price of a 3-bedroom house, 1,800 square feet. How much is that? Well, that $350,000, $400,000. That used to be $120,000. Brownie, my wife also going from 30 to 50K. There you go. So increase in salary, better weather, an opportunity to save money for your first house. And immigration is going to say, okay, Brownie, no worries. I'll accept that. Not a problem. You're good. But you got to notify immigration. And you got to get Tennessee driver's licenses. And both of you have to have the same address on your Tennessee driver's licenses. And you're good to go. So, you're good. You're from England originally. Now you're focusing on becoming an American. The goal should be to become an American citizen. I see people, with their come here from a different country, and they hang a flag in their bedroom or in their living room from whatever country they originated from. Why don't you put an American flag in your living room? Just my opinion. The real Brownie, but we will have it mailed the day we move. No worries. Good. And the Department of Motor Vehicles, the first week, we need to change the plates anyway. There you go. Change your plates. And when you become an official resident of Tennessee, I don't know how long you have to live in Tennessee. I think maybe 30 days or something, or 6 months. But once you've been an official resident, then you don't have to pay any more freaking state tax to the state of Missouri. In the state of Missouri, you got to pay state income tax, right? The government in Missouri, they put their hand in your wallet and take money out of your wallet. In Tennessee, they don't do that. In Tennessee, Florida, Nevada, Texas, Washington State, I believe, so those are the states I know of, there's no state income tax. The real Brownie, I'm planning to get a flag made of half US and half English. And hopefully in 5 or 6 years from now, it'll be totally American flags. Don't forget where you come from, but become Americanized. 100% American. The real Brownie, yeah, Missouri state income tax sucks. They're moving to abolish it. Well, they haven't abolished it. You got these politicians in Missouri, in the Missouri legislature, running their mouths, trying to win votes from people. Yeah, we're going to get rid of income tax on the state income tax. But they keep saying that every year. But they still have a state income tax. Let's talk about, what about gas taxes? Gasoline taxes. In Alaska, the state of Alaska has a 9 cents state income tax on gasoline. 9 cents. So if you live in Alaska and you fill up with 1 gallon of gas, 9 cents of that you pay for it goes to the state of Alaska. If you live in California and you put a gallon of gas in your car, 71 cents of that cost goes to the state of California. California is ripping people off blind on gas taxes, and yet they're blaming Trump for the high gas prices in California because of this Iranian conflict. No, the price of gas in California is ridiculously high because the government of California is taxing the crap out of people that are putting gas in their cars. 9 cents in Alaska, 71 cents in California. Kona Tiger, my spouse got denied to a timing issue with sending my divorce decree not being sent on time. Her case was denied as a consequence. We filed a motion to appeal and it's pending. Should we worry? Kona Tiger, what do you mean the divorce decree was not sent on time? Who asked for the certified copy of the divorce decree? Who asked for it? Was it at the K-1 visa interview? Was it did you forget to include it in the green card application? You got to give me more information. And then I can give you an answer to your question if it's going to be a worry for you. Is your wife in? Did you get married Did you get married on the 90-day window? Did you file for a 2-year green card and didn't include the divorce decree certified by the clerk of the court? Did you get denied at the K-1 visa interview? What happened? Tell me. I need more information. The real brownie politicians will say anything to seize control. That's for sure. Yeah, they run their mouths, and then they get in office, and then they do the opposite. The real brownie, the governor of California, has been corrupt for years. You got Governor Newsom, as it is the business capital of the United States. Well, it's Sacramento. They get away with murder. I don't know why the good citizens of California keep electing this communist into office. Well, he's on his last legs now anyway. He's being termed out. But they keep electing communists and Marxists and socialists into the California legislature. California is losing more people than it's gaining. It has a negative population growth, the second largest in the history of the state. Californians are leaving. They're moving to Nevada. They're moving to Texas. They're moving to Tennessee. They're moving to Florida. Big businesses are leaving California. Chevron closed down its refinery. California now has to import its freaking gas from the Middle East, even though we got more oil and gasoline in this country in Texas and New Mexico. In California, we got more oil than Saudi Arabia, but California imports its oil. The state of California is ran by incompetence, and that's just my opinion. Okay, you may disagree with me. If you do, that's fine. I'm not going to get upset. But if you live in California and you're paying $8 for a gallon of gas, it's because the government of California created those conditions. Kona Tiger, the interviewer at USCIS, asked for it when they sent the RFE. The interviewer at USCIS. We married on a K-1. Okay, so she came into the country, got married on a K-1 and married within 90 days. Okay. And I thought I'd officially divorced, but it didn't finalize. Well, you cannot marry somebody if you are not divorced from the person. You can't do that. After the fact, I reached out to my former spouse, and it turns out she finalized the divorce and got the divorce decree and sent it with the motion to appeal. You should know if you're divorced or not. You should have had, when you file for a K-1 visa or a 2-year green card or a 10-year green card, if you've been divorced in the past, you must include a certified copy signed by the clerk of the court of your divorce decree. Now, you cannot go, let's suppose you got a copy of your divorce decree and you run it off of a Xerox copier, or you go to Office Depot and make a copy of it. Immigration won't accept that. If you are divorced, you must get a wet ink certified copy of your divorce decree. And I recommend you get a bunch of copies, because you're going to, if you have a divorce under your belt, that's no biggie. Okay, so what? You didn't, the first, it didn't work out in the relationship. Boom, you divorced each other, no problem. But you got to show immigration that you are legally free and able to marry. That's why when you fill out the letter of intent to get married, you say, I am legally free and able to get married. You have to state that in the letter of intent to get married. I am legally free and able to get married, which means if you have been divorced, you have a certified copy, wet ink signed by the clerk of the court in front of you. Now you got to have a wet ink signed divorce decree copy for the 10-year green card, for the 2-year green card, for the K-1 visa, for U.S. naturalization. For when you go to renew your 10-year green card with the Form I-90, you have to show you are still legally free and able to marry, even if you're renewing a freaking green card. So Kona Tiger, you didn't prove to immigration that you were divorced. All they got to do is do a public record check. It doesn't, I don't know. But if you have evidence, if you submitted evidence of a finalized divorce decree, before you filed for the K-1 visa, not after. If you have a divorce decree that was signed after you filed the K-1 visa application, you were not legally able and free to marry when you filed for the K-1. But if your divorce decree was finalized before you filed for the K-1 visa, then you are legally free and able to marry. Then the motion to appeal will be approved, most likely. But you got to prove it. But if you were still married when you filed the K-1 visa, waiting for the divorce to get finalized, your K-1 visa should have been denied right off the bat. Right off the bat. But it seems like immigration is just finding this stuff out after you brought your new wife here and got married. So immigration is looking at the dates on your divorce decree. Okay, the divorce decree was signed by the judge on this date. You filed for the K-1 visa on this date. The divorce decree was finalized before you filed the K-1, so you're good to go. It all depends on the dates now. Let's see, the real brownie. I read an interesting fact this morning. There's been more U.S. citizens emigrating from the USA than there is people coming in. We got a negative population growth. That hasn't happened since the Great Depression of 1929. It's crazy news. No, it's Trump's immigration policies. And there are thousands of people renouncing their U.S. citizenship and moving to Mexico, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica. They're leaving the United States. There's people with dual nationalities, Americans, Mexican Americans, and Spanish Americans, and French Americans. They're renouncing their U.S. citizenship. They can't stand Trump. So they're going back to their home countries. I don't have a problem with Trump. Honestly, I really don't have a problem with him. I just don't like the fact that he is going after green card holders. Now, if you are a green card holder who has committed felonies and you have criminal offenses and you're a criminal and you're just a dirtbag, then get the hell out of my country. And Trump will find you an airplane ticket. But if you came to this country legally, whether you're from, I don't care, Colombia, Nigeria, Philippines, I don't care. If you've done everything by the law, by the book, by the Immigration and Nationality Act, they shouldn't be jacking around with you. So Trump's going to lose those court cases. He's going to lose an immigration court. But you got to hang in there, guys. Trump's temporary. But he's done a great job in securing our borders. I give him an A+. Lena Earl, exactly. That's crazy. You have to be divorced before you can marry. Yeah, that's correct. Kona Tiger, yes, I got certified divorce decree and sent it to USCIS a few weeks ago. I filed the I-290B. Okay, that's to reopen the case. And yes, I was officially divorced before my current marriage. Divorce ended in 2014. So you're good. But you didn't prove it to immigration. Immigration, you didn't have evidence of it for immigration. And they asked you for evidence and you didn't send it to them on time. So you got denied. Immigration can only go by what they got in front of them. Okay? So if you're watching this live stream in the future, ladies and gentlemen, people like to watch this live stream after I'm done with it. If you have been divorced, number one, do not file for a K-1 visa if you're in the process of getting divorced, because you're going to be denied your K-1 or your 2-year green card after you bring her to America. You're going to end up in problems. If you are divorced, make sure you have a certified clerk of the court, wet ink copy, certified by the clerk of the court of your divorce decree. And if your divorce decree is 30 pages, include 30 pages. Let's see. So Kona Tiger, Lena Earl, exactly. Kona Tiger, yes, I got the certified divorce decree and sent it to USCIS. So you're good. Open up. How much did it cost you to reopen the case? About $800. It's about $800, $900 to reopen the case. And with the evidence you provided to reopen the case is a certified wet ink divorce decree, $800. I'm good, right? I know this immigration process like the back of my hand, guys. I've been doing it for 13 years. but I don't give you legal advice. I give you real time, what the hell is going on in immigration advice. I tell you how it is without any sugarcoating. I don't give you legal advice because I'm not an immigration attorney, but I've been doing this for 13 years. $1,800 to reopen the case. You got the evidence. You filed the paperwork correctly. You wrote a real good kiss-ass letter to immigration apologizing for the delay, and you thanked them for their hard work, and you again told them you're sorry, and that here it is, and they'll approve your green card. The real brownie, I will say, credit where credit is due. Making people return home to do AOS the right way is a very good move. That's correct. When you came to this country on a K-1 visa, what did you have to do? You had to go to a scary visa interview at the embassy or the consulate in your country of origin. Karina went to her visa interview at the U.S. Embassy in Bogota, Colombia. She didn't come to the United States on a tourist visa. She didn't marry me on a tourist visa and then file for adjustment of status, because that's freaking illegal. It violates the freaking rules. You're jumping in front of everybody else. And President Trump said, if you come to this country on a tourist visa and get married to an American citizen, your ass is going back to your country of origin to process your green card, just like everybody else. K1s, K2s, spousals. That's all Trump is saying. But the fake news, the news media is saying Trump is kicking everybody out of the country who's applying for a green card. But that's not true. That's fake news. But if you watch my channel, you're going to find out what the real deal is. And the real deal is, if you come into this country on a student visa to learn and to study underwater basket weaving, and you fall in love with an American, that's fine. And if you marry him or her, that's fine. But your ass is going back to your home country to file for the green card, just like K-1 visas have to, just like K-2 visas have to, and just like spousal visas have to. And that also applies to not temporary workers and tourists. It's the rule. It's been in place since the 50s. And Trump is implementing it. He's saying, well, Trump isn't implementing it. He's saying, we haven't been following the freaking rules. Immigration's been doing whatever, this is what the rule says. Follow the rules. So immigration sent out a memo. We're going to be enforcing the rules as it was put in place in the Immigration and Nationality Act. And then all the news media is out there scaring people. Oh, everybody's being booted out of America to get green cards. You got all these pity parties going on, all these boo-hoos. Oh, I feel like sending them boxes of Kleenex. My beautiful wife from Venezuela relocated to Colombia, lived in Colombia for 6 years. Then she met me in Bogota. We dated for 3 years, followed the rules, did everything by the book. She's in America. She has a green card. And then all of a sudden Trump says, oh, we're going to put a pause on green card applications for Venezuelans. Really? For why? For what reason? But they can't give us a reason other than the fact, well, we don't like Venezuelans. You don't like Venezuelans? Well, why do you want to make Venezuela the 51st state if you don't like Venezuelans? See how hypocritical that is. Immigration attorneys are having a ball with this. They're making all kinds of money hand over fist, and Trump's losing every freaking court case that every person he blocked so far is going to be adjudicated. I think only one person from Iran didn't get approved by a federal judge because she couldn't prove her case in federal court. An Iranian was trying to become a doctor and a researcher. Okay, she came in on a temporary work visa, I believe it was, or specialty visa, maybe a J visa, I don't know. And she applied, and she'd been in the country. She got her green card. She got her after 5 years. She got her green card, her 10-year green card, and then she applied for U.S. citizenship. And then I think she was pulled out of line or was put on hold because Trump doesn't like Iranians. Well, I can understand why, right? But not all Iranians are bad. I know an Iranian in town down the street. He owns 2 IHOPs. Millionaire. Good guy. Came to this country from Iran as a teenager. Not a bad person. It's insane. Okay? You don't categorize people by their place of birth. You categorize people by their character and by their track record. That's how you do it. Kona Tiger, I'm still worried for the sake of worrying. We are sitting ducks at this time and are anxious to hear back. So your wife is in the United States, Kona Tiger, right? She's in America, right? You went through the process. You screwed up on the divorce decree, which is not, you're not the first person to do that. You're not the first person to do that, but you got to quit worrying. If you filed a motion to reopen the case with an appeal, and you paid the $800, did they take the $800 out of your checking account? Did you pay for the service? If immigration took your $800, they're reviewing your case, and they see that you have a certified copy of the divorce decree that was filed years before you filed the K-1. Okay, so it's been taken out of your account. Okay, the $800. Immigration made another $800 because you couldn't get a freaking divorce decree to them on time. Cost you $800. They made $800. They're going to reevaluate your case, and when they see that your divorce decree was certified and adjudicated and approved in 2014, years before you filed the K-1 visa, they're going to approve your green card for your wife because you were not married when you applied for the K-1. That's all they're trying to find out. Were you legally free and able to marry? That's what they're trying to find out. Now you've proved it. Now you just got to wait for them to make a decision. Okay? But I don't think you got anything to worry about. You just out another $800. Don't, just relax, Kona Tiger. Trust me, man. You trust me, right? You've been following this channel for a while. You know I don't make any mistakes. Yeah, the rules just weren't enforced properly for years. That's right. Notice people are shocked. Yeah. People would come into this country on tourist visas and get married to Americans and file for green cards. And I'd see it all the time. I'm like, wait a second. My wife's been waiting 2 freaking years to get a green card, to get a K-1 visa interview at the embassy in Bogota, Colombia. First, we wait for the approval. Then we got to get an interview, pay a consular fee, do a medical exam, do biometrics in Colombia. And this jerk comes to America, gets married, and files in the United States without any of the stress that my wife had to go through or you guys had to go through. That's jumping the line. Trump said, no, we're not playing that game. Trump is not going to block you from coming here, but you got to have an outstanding record, a squeaky clean character, no criminal offenses, something to offer this country. My wife's got a degree in tax accounting. She's learning how to fly an airplane, for crying out loud. As long as you got something to give this country and you got a clean record and you follow the rules, you're good. But Trump said, we got people coming in on student visas, going to university, marrying Americans, and filing for green cards. Let me read the rules. Is that how it's supposed to work? So Trump reads the Immigration and Nationality Act, and he reads how it's supposed to be and says, wait a second. These people come in on student visas. They can marry Americans if they want, but the adjudication of the green card is done in their home country. That's what the rule says right here by Congress. Well, why aren't we doing that? So he sent USCIS a letter, a memorandum, actually from the director of USCIS, I guess, or from Secretary of Marco Rubio, said, look, you guys understand that if you are a student, a tourist, or on a temporary work permit, and you marry an American, you got to adjudicate the green card in your country of origin, not in the United States. That's what the rule book says. It's been in effect since the 50s. But the news media, who don't do their homework, who don't understand how immigration works, all they look for is something to bash Trump with. Now, I will not bash Trump on immigration, except for going after green card holders who are going by the book from these specific countries. It's unconstitutional. It's illegal. It violates the congressional law, and he's not going to win, and the pause is going to go away. Hear my words. But the news media is saying that Trump is kicking everybody out of this country who's applying for a green card. So you got people on K1 visas, K2 visas, spousal visas, adjusting from 2-year to 10-year green cards. They're all freaking out. They're sending me messages in YouTube. Yeah, what the heck's going on? I say, relax, guys. You're good. How did your wife get adjudicated for her green card? Well, she had a consular interview at the embassy in Manila. Okay. So she went face to face in the Philippines with a consular officer. Yeah, she's good. What about you, Mr. Spousal Visa? Yeah, I found an I-130 for my wife. She's from Brazil, although Brazil is on a pause right now. That's going to get lifted. But if you're watching me from Colombia, Brazil, Morocco, if you're trying to bring something to this country on those countries that are paused by the president, contact an immigration attorney and sue USCIS for adjudication. They will have to adjudicate your freaking green card as per congressional law. You cannot put a block on somebody because they're from a specific country. It's not allowed. You can't do that. Everybody has won their case so far, except for one person. And she was an Iranian who, when she filled out the paperwork, she said she wanted to be a doctor. And then she put a dash and researcher. Well, the federal judge said, what is it you want to be, a doctor or a researcher? Which one is it? You can only be one or the other. And she said, well, I don't know. I want to do both. So the federal judge said, no, we're going to deny your case because you didn't fill out the paperwork properly. You got to fill out the paperwork properly. You got to sign the paperwork properly. You got to submit evidence that proves your case. And you get it. You're going to get it. I don't care if you're on these list of countries that have been blocked, but they're not blocked. They're on a pause. USCIS doesn't have the authority to block you from getting a freaking green card if you've gone by the book and followed congressional law. They don't have the authority. And they know it. Okay? So what do? We vote people into office in November who will not block congressional law illegally. If the members of Congress right now, okay, if they had a backbone, if they were doing their freaking job that we pay them $175,000 a year to do, if they were doing their job, they would be unblocking this USCIS BS. Members of Congress would be filing legislation and getting sponsors and co-sponsors to tell President Trump, you cannot block adjudication of green cards without congressional authority. But why aren't they doing that? Because they're lazy bums. They get their paychecks, they work 5 months out of the year, and they spend the rest of the time on the beach suntanning. And that's how our Congress works, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. They are lazy, overpaid, and achieve nothing other than disruption. Seriously, look at the corruption going on. Members of Congress, there's 2 of them already had to resign for whatever. Doesn't matter what they did, it was bad. But you just got to wait this process out. Hang in there. Kona Tiger, thanks, Diego, you've been very helpful. I got you on the Mountain Dew. Well, I don't drink Mountain Dew, okay, anymore, but I do give Mountain Dew salutes right here. But I don't drink it. It's got too much sugar in it. The sugar is not good for my bloodstream. The doc told me too much sugar, too much Mountain Dew was not good for my blood. So I said, okay. So I quit, and I eliminated all the sugar as much as I could from my diet, and that was good. I'm glad I did that. BS Don Top 1000. Good evening to the Ross family. What's going on? Now listen, I've been talking for an hour and 14 minutes. Today's Thursday, May 28th, 2026. If you're on that list of so-called block countries, relax. It's unconstitutional. It's illegal. USCIS has no authority to do that. And eventually that's going to go away. If you're on the list of pause countries inside the United States, USCIS can pause adjudications, but they cannot do it indefinitely. That would violate congressional law, so it's temporary. So what do? We wait them out, we sue them, we take them to court with a writ of mandamus if we have to, but I would much rather USCIS do their job the way Congress assigned them to, as per the law of the Immigration and Nationality Act, rather than sue them. I don't have any issues with USCIS. My issues are with politicians who think it's fun to jack around with the lives of American citizens who are following congressional law. And those folks will be finding out very soon what it's like to do that and what the consequences of doing that is going to be. And that will be in November. See you guys at the next live stream, guys, and hang in there, okay? Be patient. You will get your green card. You will get your visas as long as you qualify. Good night, BS Talk.